Welcome, I am Virendra Kumar Jha. In the sequence of stories of Superhit Film shown on Khabar Tab Tak, the new link of story that I have brought before you today is the story of film Aradhana, that is Prayer. This film was brought on the silver screen in 1969 and this was the most grossing film of that year. This film was directed by Sakti Samant and lead role in this film were played by Rajesh Khanna and Sharmila Tagore, whereas Sujit Kumar, Farida Jalal, and Asit Sen, etc., played character role in this film. This film had received three important Filmfare Award of that year. The first Filmfare Award was for the best film given to Shakti Saman, and second was the best female actress award given to Sharmila Tagore, and third, the best singer award given to Kishore Kumar. This film included many a beautiful dance scene and melodious song as well. The music director of this film was S.D. Burman, and the voiceover in the song of this film were given by Lata Mangeshkar, Asha Bhosle, Kishore Kumar, Mohammad Rafi, and S.D. Burman. However, all the film song of this film was very popular, yet the song रूप तेरा मस्ताना चाल मेरा दीवाना भूल कोई मुझसे ना हो जाए काहे को रोए काहे को रोए सफल होगी तेरी आराधना had received the welcome from the people. The story of the film Aradhana or Worship begins with a court scene in which Bandhana, played by Sharmila Tagore, is presented as a murder accused. The judge declares her guilty and sentences her to 14 years in prison. While serving her sentence, Bandhana becomes lost in memories of her past. After completing her studies, Vandana returns to her father, played by Pahari Sanyal. She finds her house in complete disarray and questions her servant Tikaram, played by Asit Sen, about its condition. Tikaram replies that he cleans the house every day. Vandana then tells him to see how the house is cleaned. She then sets about cleaning the house. While cleaning, she asks Tikaram to call her father and also calls the washerman and gardener. Tikaram repeatedly forgets who has been asked to call. When he repeatedly asks Vandana about this same thing, Vandana becomes angry and tells him to quickly leave and call everyone. Tikaram then leaves. Soon after Tikaram leaves, Arun Verma, an Air Force officer played by Rajesh Khanna, arrives and opens the door. When Vandana hears the door open, she assumes Tikaram has returned to ask her who she needs to call. In a fit of rage, Vandana throws a bucket of water at the door, completely soaking Arun Verma's clothes. Seeing Arun Verma instead of Tikaram, Vandana gets ashamed and apologizes for her mistakes. She then goes to iron Arun Verma's soaked clothes to dry them. Just then Vandana's father arrives and seeing Arun Verma naked, questions him about the situation. Arun Verma then tells him that all this has happened because of his daughter, whom he has taken too seriously. Meanwhile, Vandana irons and dries Arun Sharma's wet clothes. Arun Verma puts on his clothes and begins to leave. Vandana's father then asks him to have a cup of tea before leaving. Vandana prepares the tea and brings it. Arun Verma leaves after drinking it. Vandana's father thinks that perhaps Vandana has chosen him as her life partner. But when he questions Vandana about Arun Verma, Vandana admits to know nothing him and admits she thought he was one of her father's clients. Arun Verma then goes to his camp where his friend Madan Verma, played by Sujit Kumar, is suffering from a cold and cough. Madan Verma tells Arun Verma to give him medicine quickly so that he can recover and report for duty tomorrow. Arun Verma recounts the entire incident at Vandana's house, saying that he lost his senses after seeing Vandana and forgot to bring his medicine. He then asked Madan Verma to bring his medicine the next morning from Vandana's father. Madan Verma then says that he will accompany him the next day as he has more experience with love than him. The next day, when Arun Verma arrives at Vandana's house with Madan Verma, her father is gone. Vandana is shocked to see Arun Verma there again. Madan Verma explains that his friend Arun Verma came to buy medicine for him yesterday, but due to the events here, he forgot to take it. He then asks Vandana about her father, to which Vandana replies, "My father isn't home, but there is no need to worry. I will make the medicine for you." Vandana then prepares the medicine and gives it to Madan Verma. As Madan Verma leaves with his medicine, Vandana asks them if they want to have a tea. Madan Verma hesitates, but Arun Verma says, "You make delicious tea. If you don't mind, we would both love to have tea with you." Arun Verma, Madan Verma, and Vandana then sit down and drink tea together. In order to further the conversation, Madan Verma reveals that Arun Verma is addicted to excessive tea and cigarettes. Vandana retorts that smoking is a no and that tea should be limited to 1 or 2 cups only. Madan Verma and Arun Verma then begin to leave, but Vandana shows no signs of any affection for Arun Verma. After leaving Vandana's house, they walk a short distance away. Madan Verma says, "You may love Vandana, but Vandana has neither love nor hate for you. She considers you a patient of her father." Then he takes Arun Verma's cigarette case and throws it away. This time Arun Verma becomes a little angry, but Madan Verma tells him that this is an excuse to come and meet Vandana again tomorrow, and that Vandana won't fall in love with him until they meet regularly. Arun Verma, lost in Vandana's love, starts his car to leave when he sees Tikaram, Vandana's servant, coming to pick up his cigarette case and hand it to him. Seeing this, Madan Verma tells Arun Verma to move his car instead of stopping to pick up the cigarette case. Tikaram calls out to them, asking them to take the cigarette case, but Arun Verma and Madan Verma continue driving. Tikaram then takes a shortcut and approaches Arun Verma and Madan Verma's car and returns the cigarette case. Arun Verma takes the cigarette case from Tikaram. Madan Verma then asks Tikaram, "How did you get ahead of us on foot since we were coming by car?" Tikaram explains the shortcut. Madan Verma then thanks him, giving him a 10 rupees note and questions him about the tea stall nearby. Tikaram is delighted to receive rupees 10 as a tip and tells Madan Verma that there is a tea stall just short distance away. The stall is small, but you won't find tea like this anywhere else. Madan Verma then asks him to get into his car. The three of them arrive at tea stall a short distance away. Tikaram asks him to stop the car and asks Mastana, the tea vendor, to serve 3 cups of tea. After drinking the tea, Madan Verma gives Tikaram rupees 10 note to pay for the tea. Tikaram then calls Mastana and tells him that both of them are senior army officers. Mastana then deducts the cost of the tea and returns the remaining money to Tikaram. Tikaram tries to return the remaining money to Madan Verma, but Madan Verma insists he keep the amount. He then offers to drop Tikaram back in the car. On the way, he asks him what his mistress Vandana likes and where she goes. Tikaram replies that Vandana is very humble, but she doesn't like delays and that work must be done systematically. She loves to pray and visits the temple daily. After leaving Tikaram back, Madan Verma and Arun Verma return to their camp. Madan Verma tells Arun Verma that he gave Tikaram this money to win his trust, as servants are very helpful in such matters. Now try to win Vandana's trust by doing as Tikaram tells you. The next day, Arun Verma, wearing a Ramnami chadar, goes to the temple where Vandana comes daily to worship. Vandana's father is surprised to see him praying. He tells him that people says that a soldier has nothing to do with religious rituals, that he only dreams of fighting. This time Arun Verma says that this is not the case. He prepares for battle with equal diligence and pays equal attention to religious rituals as per his tradition. Bandana's father is impressed by this and secretly considers him a suitable match for Bandana. After this, he tells Arun Verma that he is returning from the temple. Seeing this, Arun Verma says, I come in my car. There is no need for you to walk. I will drop you there. Arun Verma then drops Bandana and her father off at her home. Arriving at her house, he stops the car and bids them farewell. Arun Verma says he has to leave for his duty soon. Bandana's father tells him to consider this house as his own and come back whenever he wishes. Bandana is also impressed by Arun Verma's friendly nature. She then tells him that it won't take long to make tea, so he should drink it before going to work. Arun Verma agrees to have tea, telling Vandana that if it is not too late, he can have it because the tea made by her is very good. Vandana quickly makes tea and gives it to Arun Verma, and Arun Verma leaves for his duty. After this, Arun Verma and Vandana's visit becomes more frequent and they begin to fall in love. One day, Arun Verma takes Bandana with him, telling her father that there is an event to celebrate his camp's anniversary. The camp's highest ranking officer, played by Ashok Kumar, praises his officers, especially calling Arun Verma a promising Air Force officer. Later, when he calls Arun Verma to the stage to present him with an award, he repeatedly glances at Vandana as he walks up to the stage. Seeing this gesture, the camp's highest ranking Air Force officer understands the situation. He questions Arun Verma about Vandana, to which Arun Verma explains that he and Vandana are in love and want to get married soon. Arun Verma requests 3 days leave so he can marry Vandana. Upon hearing about the wedding, the Air Force officer grants him 3 days leave. On his way back from headquarters, Arun Verma takes Vandana to a temple. The priest blesses them, recognizing them as husband and wife. Verma replies, we are not married yet. The priest then solemnizes their marriage before God. While returning, the weather turns bad and they both get drenched in a sudden storm. By nightfall, they too spend the night in a hotel, arriving at Vandana's home the next morning. As they prepare for their grand wedding, Arun Verma receives a summons from an Air Force officer. Upon arriving, the officer informs him that war has broken out and he must leave immediately to attack the enemy. Arun Verma responds by saying he wants to meet Vandana briefly before leaving. The Air Force officer grants him 2 hours and Arun Verma meets Vandana, reassuring her that he will soon return victorious and marry her. The day after Arun Verma goes into battle, his friend Madan Verma informs Vandana and his father that he defeated enemy soldiers but was seriously injured in the process. He then takes Vandana and her father to the hospital where Arun Verma is being treated. Madan Verma asks Vandana to go inside, saying that no one else is allowed to speak to Arun Verma at this time. Vandana is terrified by Arun Verma's condition, but Arun Verma consoles her, telling her that in his absence she should raise our son to be an Air Force officer like him. He then tries to tell Vandana's father about his marriage, but he dies before he can. Vandana is devastated by Arun Verma's death. Then she remembers the symbol of Arun Verma's love growing her womb, and then her courage returns that for the sake of her husband's love, she has to give birth to this child and make him a big officer in the Air Force. When she tells this to her father, Dr. Pandit Sanyal, He too is stunned. However, Bandana tells her father that she married Arun in front of God. Her father tells her, "But you didn't marry him in front of the world. In such a situation, the world will make life difficult for you and your son by casting all sorts of aspersions on you. But if Arun Verma's uncle and aunt accept you, no one will be able to cast aspersions on you and your son." After this, Dr. Pahari Sanyal takes his daughter Vandana to meet Arun Verma's uncle. Arun Verma's uncle says that Arun used to keep him informed about everything, but he hasn't given any information about this marriage. Hearing their conversation, Arun Verma's aunt calls her husband inside and locks him up in a room. Then she comes out and takes charge. She accuses Vandana and Vandana's father, Pahari Sanyal, of conspiring to usurp her property. The daughter is carrying the scenes of someone unknown people, and the father is bringing her here to usurp Arun Verma and all his wealth. Vandana is deeply disturbed by this and, accompanied by her father, began returning home. On the way, as she recalls the child growing in her home, a token of Arun Verma's love and the promise she made to him that she would make him a high-ranking Air Force officer, she becomes disheartened by her current circumstances. A song plays in the background, "काहे को रोए सफल होगी तेरी आराधना." Hearing this, she is emboldened and she begins to live happily with her father, lost in the memories of Arun Verma. Meanwhile, her father dies and her pregnancy is complete. She goes to a hospital and gives birth to her child. When the nurses begin brings the baby to her, she sees Vandana at times happy and at times sad about the child. After the doctor leaves, the nurse questions Vandana about her behavior and asks her to tell her the whole story. If possible, it will help her. After listening to Vandana's story, the nurse tells her that it will be difficult to raise her son like this, but if she adopts him from an orphanage, no one will be able to blame her. She then tells Vandana to put her baby in the orphanage crib late at night and adopt her child as soon as it opens the next morning. According to the nurse, Vandana puts her baby in the orphanage crib late at night and arrives the next morning to adopt the child. The adoption process begins. The orphanage manager asks her if she can raise such a small child. When Vandana nods, the orphanage manager provides a list of necessary items for raising the children. When Vandana says all the supplies and returns to the orphanage manager to collect her son, the orphanage manager tells her that a man had adopted him just a short while ago. Vandana accuses him of being a fraud. He then explains that the man's wife had previously delivered to stillborn child, so she comes to the hospital this time hoping for a healthy child. However, this time too her child was stillborn, threatening to lead to a mental breakdown and even suicide. To avoid this, her husband has adopted the newborn. Bandana then asks the orphanage manager to provide the name and address of the person who adopted her children and goes to his house. Vandana meets with the man Ram Prasad Saxena, played by Abhi Bhattacharya, and asks him to return her son. To prevent his wife from overhearing their conversation, Ram Prasad Saxena calls Vandana inside the house and asks her to sit in a room and talk quietly. Vandana tells him her entire story and demands her son back. Ram Prasad Saxena tells him that her child will not suffer here and that she will not be able to raise him properly alone. In such a situation, it is better for the child to stay here and see too, so that the child will have a father's name and the love of two mothers. Convinced by Ram Prasad Saxena, Vandana begins living there as nanny. Finding an opportunity, she expresses her love for her child Suraj, played by Rajesh Khanna itself, as he grows up, telling him that she wants him to become a high-ranking Air Force officer. like his father. Meanwhile, a major accident occurs. Ram Prasad Saksena's brother-in-law, who lives abroad, comes to visit his sister. Seeing Vandana, he becomes sexually aroused. He occasionally sneaks into her room and attempts to molest her. However, as soon as Vandana becomes upset, he takes a different turn. He takes a picture of Vandana and Suraj together and promises to bring it to her within a day or two so he can meet her again and satisfy his lust. The next day, under the pretext of giving her the picture, he tries to molest her, but Vandana slaps him. He then leaves, but as he leaves, he says he will soon take revenge on Vandana. One day, Ram Prasad's wife tells Vandana that she is going out with her husband for some work. There is no one at home when Suraj returns from school. Please take care of him. As soon as Ram Prasad Saksena's wife and Ram Prasad Saxena leave, Ram Prasad's brother-in-law enters the room. He then declares, "No one is here right now because I sent my sister and brother-in-law out on some pretext. Today I will take a revenge for that slap." Saying this, he pounces on Vandana to satisfy his lust. Vandana runs around to escape, but because the room is locked, she is unable to escape. Just when she is helpless to save her honor, Suraj returns home from school and sees his uncle attacking Vandana. He then breaks the window and enters, asking his uncle to release Vandana. Angered by this, his uncle throws him away, injuring him and dragging him. Meanwhile, his uncle begins insulting Vandana. In a fit of rage, he picks up a pair of scissors lying nearby and stabs his uncle in the back, with that killing him. Vandana then takes Suraj to another room, changes his clothes, and tells him to tell everyone that he saw nothing. She then takes the scissors and stands next to Suraj's uncle. Meanwhile, Ram Prasad Saxena arrives with his wife. His wife, alarmed by her brother's condition, confronts Vandana. Vandana then takes the responsibility for the murder, leading to the police arresting her and presenting her in court, where she is sentenced to 14 years in prison. After Vandana is sentenced to 14 years in prison, Ram Prasad Saxena visits her and complains about why she didn't even let him hire a lawyer. Vandana refuses to tell him anything and tries to avoid him. Ram Prasad Saxena then tells her that he knows everything and that she didn't commit the murder. Vandana breaks down and tells him, "You won't tell anyone about this, not even your wife, and you certainly won't tell Suraj that I am his mother. I don't want him to know that his mother is a criminal and is in prison." Ram Prasad Saxena promises to do the same and leaves. After 12 years of her imprisonment, the jailer, played by Madan Puri, summons Vandana to his office. Here he tells Vandana that the government had ordered her release 2 years ago due to her good conduct in prison. She can leave wherever she wishes. Vandana asks the jailer if she has found the Ram Prasad Saksena's address. She asked him to locate. The jailer then says he sent his men to look for him, but it turns out he has died and his family has since moved away, unknown to the locals. Hearing this, Vandana becomes deeply worried. The jailer asks her if she has anywhere else to live. Vandana shakes her head in denial. Seeing this, the jailer says, "I am retiring today too. I have no one else in my family except my daughter. If you choose to live in my house as my sister, I will have a sister, and my daughter will have the love of a mother in the form of an aunt." Vandana agrees, and the jailer takes her home. Here, the jailer introduces his daughter Renu, played by Farida Jalal, to Vandana. Renu is delighted to have her aunt in Vandana's guise. One day, Renu tells her aunt Vandana that she is going to the airport to meet a friend. Vandana asks her friend's name. Hearing Renu's name, Vandana tells her, "You changes your friend's name every day. Tell me the truth." Renu replies that she is not actually going to meet any of her friends but rather to meet her boyfriend Suraj, also played by Rajesh Khanna. Vandana asks her if her father knows about this. She replies, "My father doesn't know and I am afraid to tell him." Then Vandana she tells Vandana to come with her, and if she likes the boy, talk to her father about getting her married to him. Vandana says, "What if doesn't like the boy?" Renu says, "Come with me. You will definitely like Suraj." Vandana and Renu arrives at the airport. When Vandana sees Suraj, she immediately recognizes him as her son. However, remembering her prison sentences, she refuses to acknowledge him. Suraj too is lost in memories of his past and tells Vandana if feels like I have met you before. Vandana flatly denies this. Renu then asks Vandana, "Do you like my boyfriend Suraj as my husband?" Vandana replies, "I like Suraj very much." Suraj then tells her, "You are like my mother. What would you do if your son were in my place?" Vandana replies, "I would quickly get them married." Suraj replies, "You are so nice. I want you to be my mother in my next life." Vandana says to herself, "I am still your mother." After this, Suraj and Renu exchanges loving glances. Vandana and Renu returns home. One day, Vandana asks Renu to bring her lover Suraj home to meet her father. When Renu brings Suraj home and introduces him to her father, Renu's father, the jailer, asks Suraj some questions in a stern voice. Suraj becomes a little uncomfortable with the jailer's harsh tone and begins to flatter Renu's father. Renu then begins to praise Suraj, who, upon hearing this, says that Vandana told him everything and that he likes Suraj. Hearing this, Renu bursts into joy and tells Suraj, "I told you my father is very nice man." Just then Vandana arrives and tells her adopted brother sister jailer to arrange their marriage quickly. The jailer then asks Suraj to bring his mother along with him. The next day, Suraj comes to the jailer with his mother. The jailer tells her about Suraj and Renu's love and asks her about their marriage. Suraj's mother agrees to their marriage. The jailer then orders Vandana to quickly bring tea and snacks. When Vandana arrives with tea and snacks, she recognizes Suraj's mother sitting with the jailer. She hides her face and places the snacks and plate there and leaves. Suraj's mother also recognizes Vandana and then gets up from the jailer and comes to Vandana. Upon arriving, she tells Vandana, "I wanted to meet you, but I found out in jail that you had been released 2 years ago. I was actually trying to apologize for sending you, poor fellow, to jail for the murder of my brother without thinking. When my husband Ramprasad Saxena was dying, he confided in me one day that Suraj was not my son but yours. I want to tell him this today and apologizes for my mistreatment of you." Vandana asked him to promise not to tell Suraj anything, saying, "I am a convict serving a sentence. Suraj is still a young man. He still has a lot to do with his career and Renu loving her. Learning about his mother's conviction will stir up various thoughts in his mind which could negatively impact his love and career." Suraj's mother promises Vandana not to tell him anything about this and leaves. She agrees with the jailer to arrange a wedding for Suraj and Renu on the third day and returns home. Meanwhile, war breaks out once again, and Suraj has to come to fight his enemy. Hearing this, Renu becomes sad. Then, taking Bandana with her, she comes to the airdrome to meet Suraj. Here, Suraj reassures her that he will soon return from destroying the enemy with his fighter plane and marry her. It is only a matter of 2 or 3 days. Hearing this, Vandana also consoles Renu. She also tells Suraj that she will cook dinner and wait for him to return on the third day. Suraj then receives orders to quickly fly his plane and attacks the enemy, and Suraj leaves. After Suraj's departure, Renu and Vandana to return home. Suraj destroys the enemy with his fighter plane, but in the process, his fighter plane crashes and he loses control of air traffic. When the Air Force gives Renu this news, she becomes very nervous. Bandana first tries to reassure Renu that Suraj will return soon and then goes to the idol of God and complains, God, you have done me a great injustice so far. First you took my husband, then my father, but I never complained. But if you take my son from me, I will realize is that you are not God, but just a stone statue. Vandana was talking to her God in this way when an Air Force officer arrived and told Renu that Suraj had destroyed the enemy, but his fighter plane had crashed. Despite this, Suraj jumped down with a parachute, but even there he was surrounded by enemy soldiers. Then, with the great bravery, he killed several soldiers from that enemy unit, escaped, and reported his injuries to the Air Force office. Upon receiving the information, Suraj was brought back in an air ambulance and is being treated. You can meet him if you want. Renu then runs to Vandana, who is currently praying to God for Suraj's well being. They both come to the hospital and meet Suraj. Seeing Suraj's injury state, Renu is terrified. Vandana consoles her, saying, he is a hero, he destroyed the enemy army, and if he has a minor injury, it is okay. He will recover quickly and make a name for himself in the Air Force. Suraj replies, look how courageous your aunt is. If anyone else were there, she would have told him to leave the Air Force, which carries such dangerous work. But despite being injured, she insists on staying with the Air Force. He then tells Renu that he have a minor injury and will recover soon. Bandana then leaves, leaving the two of them alone to talk. Suraj's mother then comes to visit him and seeing his injuries tells him to get well soon and leave the Air Force and take up another job where there are no such dangers. Suraj then tells Renu, see, I told you your aunt is very brave. Suraj recovers within 2 or 3 days and returns to Renu's house with her. Seeing Suraj arrive with Renu, Vandana quickly makes them tea and tells Suraj, I am going to prepare dinner for you, don't go anywhere. After Vandana leaves, Renu also gets up to run errands and leaves to pass the time. Suraj picks up a religious book lying there. While picking up the religious book, some photographs and letter inside it scatter on the floor. When Suraj looks at the photograph, he is stunned to discover it is childhood photo of him having fun with Vandana. Seeing the photograph, Suraj realizes that this is the same Bandana who used to bring him play and feed him when he was a child. Later, when he reads the letter, he discovers that it was written by his father Ram Prasad Saxena to Vandana, stating that as promised, he had never told Suraj that Vandana was his mother and that he was currently in jail on a murder charge. But now I feel my end is near, therefore I am going to break my promise to you and inform my wife, asking her not to tell Suraj anything about this. I hope you will forgive me for breaking my promise to you. Despite knowing everything about Vandana, Suraj doesn't tell her anything. Then, citing urgent matters, he touches Vandana's feet and leaves. Renu is also shocked by his sudden departure, but Suraj leaves, citing urgent business at his office. The next day, the Air Force organizes a ceremony to award Suraj for his bravery. Suraj brings his mother, Renu, her father, and Vandana to the ceremony. When a high ranking Air Force officer calls Suraj's name to present the award, and Suraj arrives, he is surprised to see him. Madan Verma, a friend of Suraj's biological father, Arun Verma, arrives and tells the Air Force officer that the reason you suspect Suraj is Arun Verma is because he is his son. He doesn't even know that his father is Arun Verma, not Ram Prasad Saxena. Hearing this, the senior Air Force officer begins praising Suraj's bravery and presenting him with medals. Suraj then grabbed the microphone and says, "In fact, I was able to join the Air Force because it was my father's heartfelt wish, but my father passed away with this wish in his heart. After this, my mother, facing all the adversity, living with me and hiding her identity from me, made me capable of destroying the enemy army, and for this I am being given such a great award. But I want this award to be given by my mother because she has suffered a lot to make me worthy of this." After this, the senior Air Force officer asked Suraj's mother to come there and place the medal around her son's neck. But he mentioned Vandana as Suraj's mother. Hearing this, Vandana becomes nervous. Then Ram Prasad Saksena's wife and Madan Prasad Verma asked Vandana to go on the stage and hand over the award to her son Suraj. Hearing this, Vandana becomes emotional. Madan Verma then took her to the stage. Here, Suraj tells her that he has recognized her as his mother with the help of the photo and later found at her house, and requests her to give him the medal. Then Vandana happily puts the medal around his neck. With this scene, the story of the film Aradhana, that is worship and prayer, ends here.